Yes, welcome to our meditation. Pat asked me about Nepal, and because I just have been in Nepal, just for 2 weeks. I came back last Friday, and I actually wanted to bring some of the inspiration into our session. I had a pilgrimage plan to Lapshi with a friend, but who also sponsored this journey, and but he canceled. He had good reasons to do so. So what I did, I just stayed 2 weeks in Bodhanath, close to the stupa, and I was just walking around the stupa a few hours every day, and it's a bit outside of the city center, Kathmandu, and it's the area where the Tibetans settled. I don't know if you know Bodhanath. It's this huge stupa with these big eyes. I mean, even many people, even who haven't been in Nepal, have seen images of that stupa. It's one of the biggest stupas in the world. And there's about 40 Tibetan monasteries in that area. And Kopan Monastery is about half an hour walk away. So I just stayed there and walked from monastery to monastery and joined the Kora in the morning and in the evenings with the Tibetans. It's really amazing. There's hundreds of Tibetans, a lot of mainly women and monks who walk from 5 o'clock in the morning before they go to work, and then again in the evening about 5 or 6 o'clock. And what I would like to bring into our first meditation session is that experience of sacred space and the importance of that. So kind of a bit of an exploration. What are your sacred spaces, and how can we create sacred spaces? What does it need for a place, for a room, for a house, for an area to be sacred? Because I really, again, I was surprised of the power of holy objects, of the power of the symbols, and also of the power of this constant ongoing practice of walking around the stupa, making offerings, because there are so many monasteries in that area. You always hear some sacred sounds, some bells, some horns, some incense smell. Even the shops around the stupa, they sell Buddha statues and tankas and incense and things like that. And then coming back, I didn't have, maybe because it was rather short, I didn't have like really a shock of coming back. But what I really felt was this kind of spiritual desert, yeah, like nothing. I mean, in our daily life, I mean, there's some churches or synagogues in probably in New York, some Buddhist centers, some yoga centers, but they are rather hidden. It's not like that they really have a big impact on the city. So coming back, it's really sad in a way to acknowledge how spiritual life is not really present in our daily life. Rituals. I mean, there in Nepal, even if you walk through non-Buddhist areas, they all have their temples, somewhere in the street, and what makes these temples and places also so powerful that there's an ongoing practice there. So it's not like a museum. I went also to places where it was just like more a museum. I mean, the buildings were still there, but it was not filled with that constant devotion, that like children, women, whole families doing practices in such a natural way. I mean, there's no I should, or it's just what they do, and probably they all have in the center of their living quarters, in the centers of their houses or apartment. Probably they don't have the television there, but an altar, yeah, where an altar which is kept alive. So what I would like to invite you for our first meditation to reconnect with the sacred spaces of your life. And what is important here, of course, it needs to be your sacred spaces. So, if I'm glowing with inspiration from being around the stupa in Bodha, that doesn't mean if you go there that it means anything for you. Maybe you see just dirt and beggars, and it doesn't touch the sacred temple in your heart. But the sacred temple in your heart is present in all of us. The inner beauty, the Buddha nature. Yeah. But I'm sure that you have been in places in your life, and this could be nature places, maybe in the shamanistic tradition, what you would call power places. So what have been your places, or also what are your places right now in your life where you physically go sometimes, where you feel you're more in the presence of the divine than in other places. Divine. So whatever you can connect with that, where you are, where suddenly something shifts in you. It doesn't need to be something dramatic. It's quite subtle. I mean, I can't really describe or grasp what it is around the stupa. It's like a bit like being around Lama Zopa or His Holiness the Dalai Lama, or maybe always almost the same. You can't really put your finger on it, what it is, because it is unspeakable, it is ungraspable, it is undescribable. But nevertheless, it is so strong and so beautiful and so sweet and so satisfying that you might be drawn back to places like this again and again. In the same way, I'm really drawn back to the stupa in Bodhanath. It always has been. And then also in my own history, I received ordination just by the stupa in one of the monasteries, which are by the stupa. So I also have that kind of personal relationship, particular to this one monastery, and I went there every day, and I was just sitting in the Gompa there for a few hours and just enjoying to be there. Yeah? So it's like, I mean, I didn't need to bring the idea of meditation into that space. Just being there was meditation. And just being there, just bringing the body into that place. So if you, and then also it could be that you somehow, you feel drawn to a place somewhere in the world where you not even have been, like physically in this life, but you feel like going, or you just maybe you have a picture of a place in your house or something like that, or you saw a documentary and you just feel that kind of a bit of a pull to that place. Yeah? I have, like for example, for me, the Taramandala Center of Lama Tsultrim in Colorado is just like a temple, like the feminine Tara temple. So that's for me a place like this. I never have been there. My ex-partner was there a lot. So I had some personal connection. But for example, that is a place I might never go, but it's just one of the power places or the sacred spaces. So the body has a memory, yeah, as it says in this book about trauma. So the body keeps the score. So the body not only keeps the difficult experience and stores them, it also keeps the sacred experiences. Yeah? They are also there. It's the same mechanism. Yeah? And it's always an experience of when you travel outside, like physically with your body, to a sacred space, that it is at the same time, it is an inner journey. Yeah? As if the world is your body, and within the world, there's traumas and wars and stuff, but there's also sacred spaces, power places. And you can connect with these places either physically, you go there like I did, or you can travel to them within your body, within your inner life, kind of deconstructing this illusion of separation, yeah, that this is your body and you are inside here, and traveling means to move the body to another place. More close to reality is that we are always already everywhere and nowhere. Yeah. We have an India inside. We have a Bodh Gaya inside. We have a Bodhanath inside. So what are your sacred spaces? And in the meditation, I will invite you to kind of connect with those. Spontaneously, you don't need to think so much. Could be also in childhood. Yeah? Maybe you had a tree, or maybe you had a favorite synagogue or temple or church, or and maybe you have been in India or Nepal, or maybe you are connected with some retreat centers, yeah, with some Buddhist centers or other spiritual places. It could be also a garden somewhere. And then I would like to kind of bring our experience of that sacredness together into this sacred space, the virtual temple, the virtual Mahayana temple, here, which is the virtual Mahayana temple here is a really interesting place because we can't say where it is. Where is this? Yeah, we can't say. It's not in the screen. It's not somewhere like in the internet, somewhere like in the, I don't know, there must be some physical connection between us right now. So some like pipes underground in the ocean. Yeah, so that's, I mean, the data is transferred through physical stuff. Yeah. And yeah, physically you could say, and my body is in my room right now where you are, but where's this meeting? And we can't deny that this is a meeting. We can connect. We connect, you know, from heart to heart. We're together. But where? Where are we together? And with what? Because we are not together with our bodies. But with what are we together right now? We can't say. We can't find it. So this is a beautiful metaphor for emptiness and for interconnectedness. That there is connection, but there's not like solid separate things which are connected with each other. Yeah. So, and my kind of idea is that into this strange temple, which is created by our minds, that each of you and myself, so I will go to Bodhanath and you know, in my inner life, so that we bring these different sacred spaces together and inviting them into this strange meeting. And then also many of these sacred spaces are connected with certain lineages. So there's the different Tibetan lineages, but I also went to some temples of Shiva, but I'm sure that you connect also with other lineages in different places. Yeah, I mean, in a synagogue or in a church or in a yoga center or in a Zen center or in a Theravada center, you connect with different lineages. So by opening to these sacred spaces within us all together, we also invite the blessings of these lineages. Yeah. So, and then the last thing I want to say before our meditation is, sometimes it has been also difficult for me to connect with the practice of making offerings. And I have experimented a lot with that. And of course I did a lot because, you know, that's what you do around Lama Zopa. And you get like, you know, this list of 100,000 of things you have to do, which is mainly like, you know, making offerings. Like I had to fill 500,000 water bowls, you know, I mean, it's the most useless job you will ever get, you know? But I did it. Yeah. But being with the Tibetans and immersing myself into that, and to see the naturalness of how they do it, and the relaxation and the joy in it, and really rediscovering again, one can do these practices without pressure, you know, without spiritual materialism, counting or feeling you get somewhere by that you are more awakened after 100,000 water balls or something like that. Like a competition, and then doing it in a way like fear and guilt, and all this stuff which sucks out the joy of the practice. And these practices are supposed to create joy, spiritual joy in us. So I really got again inspired into like just being in that field of the Tibetans, to start to enjoy and appreciate the practice of making offerings. So what I would also like to do when we create this temple, to fill it up with stuff. Yeah, I mean, if that's appealing to your mind. I mean, some people are more drawn by a sense center with a rock in the middle and one candle. Yeah, and that's really fine. I mean, the important thing, of course, is that it speaks to you. Yeah. So you have to do it, you have to find your style, your expression, your way. Because the sacredness which you open to this kind of practice is your own sacredness. And it has a particular flavor. It has a particular scent which is personal, and it doesn't help us to put on a straitjacket of some practices which we don't connect with. Yeah. Okay, so let's take our seat. And even that is, is a mudra, is a symbol. We are taking this ancient seat of the Buddha, of Tara, and right now there's hundreds of thousands of people who take the same seat with us. Yeah. So if you take the seat of the sons and daughters of the Buddha, and it doesn't need to be cross-legged or something, yeah, can be on the couch, can be even lying down, can be walking. So the Buddha didn't taught many postures. But when you take on that seat, you can do it with the confidence that by just taking that seat, you transform the place where you're sitting into a sacred space, into sacred earth, because you are a sacred being. Yeah. Your presence, when you connect with the confidence that awake awareness is already here, your presence is actually the thing which transforms the space into a sacred space. It's not the outside things. They can help. Yeah, they can remind you, but they remind you of something which is already the case within you. So let's adjust our posture, and then maybe at one point your eyes want to close, and then you allow that. And take some time to make that shift from the thinking, planning, fixing mind to being here. It's a felt shift from the head into the body, from doing to being. And it's precious to turn towards your inner life and to meet yourself as a friend, to meet what is. And the breath helps you to shift into the body with in-breaths. Maybe you can deepen the breath a little for a few moments. And then with the out breath, it's like some softening, letting go. Allow the thinking mind, the narrative self, to drift somewhat into the background and gravitate towards the aliveness in your body. Initially, the whole body, including your legs and your feet, arms, hands, the trunk of your body and your head. But then maybe slowly settling a bit in the trunk of your body, dropping into the trunk of your body. And gently and slowly resting on the earth which carries you. And turning towards, with the breath and a gentle kind awareness, turning towards what is arising, what is unfolding within you. Appreciating that we are making this gesture of welcoming together as a group, as a sangha. So entering the sacred space of our temple here. And allow ordinary appearances, the ordinary solid appearance of your surroundings and your body Allow that to become more transparent. And then if it's meaningful for you, I invite you to connect with sacred spaces. Temples, places in nature. What are your sacred spaces, your power places? And maybe you want to settle with one, or maybe there's a bit of different shifts, memories of different places, mental images, memories of being in sacred spaces. And see if you can really feel that these spaces. You can smell them. What are the sounds there? What is the smells? And how does it feel to be in this place? Allow the breath to flow naturally. And immerse yourself into that place. And with that, become a channel for that place into the group. So you connect with the sacred spaces, with the power places of your life, if you have been physically there or not, as a gift for the group, as the gift for everyone here. And sharing the experience of the divine, the experience of openness, the experience of light, the experience of being whole and safe. And you can connect it lightly with the in and out breath. So with the in breath, you take this into your own body and marinate in sacredness. And then with the out breath, you radiate it out into your surroundings and into this meeting. So the experience of the sacred, the experience of the divine, of ultimate bodhicitta is unspeakable, it's ungraspable. But see if you can be a bit curious about it. It's beyond words, but nevertheless, there is something. It's not nothing. And let it marinate your body. Just a sense of fundamental well-being, or a crazy sense that everything is just fine as it is. And the experience of the divine, the experience of a sacredness gives meaning, but it is a meaning which is not in stories, not in concepts, not in ideas. It is a direct experience of meaningfulness. And you don't know what it is good for and where it leads to, but it is full in itself. And then with the out-breath, you invite all the participants into your sacred spaces. As if we are now traveling together to these different places all over the world. So, and then with this also the invitation of the blessings of the different lineages, ancient lineages, and here maybe for some of us symbolized by His Holiness the Dalai Lama or Lama Zopa or Tara, Jesus, Krishna. Teachers who are alive and who inspire us. So we fill the sacred space with the presence of our mentors, role models, teachers, and their teachers, and their teachers. And you feel the loving gaze, the presence of bodhicitta, the presence of the realization of emptiness all around you, also from behind. So let the ordinary appearance of your body completely dissolve. And perceive yourself as a being of light, a being of energy, which you are. So enter a timeless space, a sacred space, where you don't know anymore who you are and where you are. So all the things which in daily consciousness are so important, they completely fade away. In the same way they will fade away when you die. All the personal issues you have in your life and relationship problems, they just fade away. There's nobody anymore who is doing the meditation. It's just happening. And without any effort, let symbols appear, if they appear, of sacredness, memories of sacred spaces. Slowly coming to a non-symbolic experience of the divine, of essence love. Pervading everything. Boundaryless and centerless, timeless. And then because it makes sense to celebrate awake awareness, to celebrate Buddha mind, Buddha heart. We fill this space with offerings. And in some of the places we are connected now in this group, we don't know exactly what places that are, but in some of these places, there are being offerings made right now, like in Bodh Gaya, Bodhanath, Swayambhunath, different places in Tibet. Right now, people light candles, play music, offer food, sing, dance, making mudras with their body. So the power of your mind is limitless. You can connect with these offerings as a celebration of the divine, as a celebration of awake awareness of Buddha mind. Thousands of candles around you. Your body multiplying and dancing in the joy of awakening. Your body multiplying and making music, singing. Your body multiplying and making all kinds of offerings. Tea and jewels, precious stones, fruit. And don't force yourself to do anything. Allow these words to just come in and see what happens in your body, in your heart, in your mind. Allow yourself to connect with the bhakti in you, the devotion. The joyful, ecstatic. Again, appreciating that we are together here, that we are sharing this energy. So you, with the out breath, you share your devotion, your bhakti, your prostrations, your light offerings, water ball offerings, turning prayer wheels, circumambulating holy objects, offering kathas to the holy beings. So, and that it doesn't need to be dramatic. And so we are opening to something unspeakable, subtle. But in this undescribable, beautiful. And then bathing in it, marinating, and sharing. And experience how the physical place in which you are dissolves and becomes part of the sacredness of our temple and part of the sacredness of all the places we are connected now as a group. The divine shines through the sensations you have, through the sounds you hear, through the smells, through my voice. And the divine shines through each movement, even those movements you usually would call unpleasant, or everything is experienced as an expression of the divine, is experienced as fluctuations of the Dharmakaya, the mind of the Buddha. And every sound, every sensation, every breath, every thought is an ornament of awake awareness, of divinity, of essence love. Every in and breath is a miracle. Every out breath is divine. And then dissolving these appearances, these symbols, And they enter your body, particularly at the heart area. Solving the offerings, and the joy enters your heart. And you become aware of the sacred space within. Which is not separate from the sacred spaces outside. You become aware of the temple within, the Buddha within, the Tara within, awake awareness within. Your heart opens like a lotus flower in sacred energy, essence love. The bodhicitta is flowing out of your heart through the pores of your body into your surroundings, into your life, here into this group, into this meeting. And you feel how your very presence blesses the space and blesses the relationship you have. You feel how you are empowered through your hands, through your feet, through your voice, through the way you look at people and things, to bless, to transform, to heal. And what you bless, what you heal, blesses you back, heals you back. What you love with your hands, with your voice, with your eyes, with your heart, loves you back. What you love, loves you back. Yes, and then you take your time, if you have your eyes closed, open your eyes. Integrating what you see into meditative awareness, into the experience. And appreciate that ordinary things around you love you back when you love them. So ordinary experience around you, they are neither sacred nor are they not sacred. They are what you make out of them. The walls around you, the floor you're sitting on, the ceiling above, every little thing on your table, including the computer or whatever you're looking at right now, loves you back when you love it, and can be experienced as manifestation of the divine, of the sacred. A cup is not more or less sacred than a Buddha statue. It's how we look at it, how we handle it, how we relate to it. Or the clothes you wear can be the garments of Tara. Because everything is empty. Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciated this meditation. It's really nice to meditate with others together, right? Even in that kind of strange togetherness now. Lone, you are an hour late. Can you hear me, Lone? Yeah, it's because of the time difference. So I almost forgot also. So tomorrow, if you want to join, you have to join at 3:30.
Yes, thank you so much. I didn't think about it at all.
No.
Oh my God,
It
my
was
video.
good that it was good that I looked at Facebook this morning, because it shows the 3:30 time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, we are getting to the end of the text. Is it now? It's more than 1 year, or? I don't remember, but yeah. But that's how it is supposed to be, huh? To work with a text like this for really a long time, and then also not putting it away, but returning to it again and again. And I don't think we might not cover all the verses. I'm not sure. Maybe not. We are now in verse 32, I think. Yeah, 32. But maybe you know that it's actually a Tibetan tradition not to finish a text, because that creates the condition of meeting again. Yeah, it's like if you finish a text, it's like that project is finished, you know. But if you don't finish a text, it creates a bond and a condition and a wish to meet again to finish this text. Yeah, and who knows? Maybe in one of my next lives, I can say a bit more, yeah, about this than I'm able to do now. So it's good to kind of keep the karmic connection between us. Yeah. So this we have covered the 6 perfections, and now these remaining verses, they are about different kind of topics, important topics, and I must say again, when I was reading this, I was really touched by this also, again, this topic. And it's kind of something we already heard before, and but it's about talking bad about others. Yeah, it's about criticizing others, and particularly here is about criticizing fellow practitioners, yeah, fellow teachers, particularly in the Sangha, yeah. And I must say, when I was reading this, particularly when I was reading Ken MacLeod's commentary, it was really embarrassing. Yeah, I really suffered. I really suffered. Because it's like it's hard to to read something and to start to recognize it in yourself. Yeah, to recognize these patterns in yourself. But that's what we are supposed to do when we read these texts, really take it in. And it's hard, it's difficult, it's so embarrassing. I mean, I was like, oh shit. And then I thought, in our meeting, I will make a long apology about different things I said in these 2 years where I feel yeah, but I just dropped that. But I really recognize this tendency of I mean, I'm not probably I don't have a strong tendency to give long slandering talks about people. Fortunately, I don't have that. Yeah, but subtle, I'm subtle in criticizing other practitioners who are, talking, looking down upon others. Like, for example, when I have a sense that people are just in their head in their practice, just blah, 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 just studying, and their body is dead, it's like, so again, I start already, yeah? Shit. Yeah, but I became aware of it, yeah? So I became aware of it. And so, and the precious thing here then is it might help us to, again, strengthen the intention, or the wish not to do that. Yeah, because also when you become aware of it, you start to see that the critical mind is devoid of joy. The judgmental mind is devoid of joy. So when I say something like, these head people, they study they study 30 years, but, nothing changes in their heart. I might say something like that. When I really feel into it, there's a bit of joy, but it's not a nice joy. It's not a beautiful joy. It's not like an open heart, wanting to share, wanting to support others. So, but then even in this kind of subtle processes, I can feel it's not really the food I'm looking for. It's not really the joy and openness and relaxation and really appreciating everyone for what he or she is doing. I mean, celebrating that, yeah. It's so amazing. There's so many doors into the sacred spaces of our heart, and people use all kinds of ways, yeah. And some people, they need to walk with their head first, yeah. And it's beautiful. So, and then when I shift into that, then yeah, then I feel how I'm nurtured. And so the another thing which when you look into this, like when you start to notice the critical mind towards others with a bit of contempt, that when you talk about others in this way, and I can really feel it when I say something like, yeah, or the gelooks head guys, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, studying emptiness for 20 years, but being horrible to be around them. Yeah, I mean, no increasement of social skills. Yeah, just so. But when I look into this, then when I dig deeper, what I actually find is an insecurity about myself. You know, if I would be really confident in, you know, being the embodied bodhicitta guy, then I wouldn't need to do that. Because in the moment where you criticize someone, you kind of imply that you are different. So it's a fascinating exploration. Yeah? And of course, those of us probably who have been around Buddhist teachings for a few years, maybe you dropped kind of the course levels of this. But now going back to this kind of teachings, maybe then, wow, now we can start to work with a more subtle level, more subtle patterns of that. Just yeah, so this is from Ken MacLeod's commentary about what I just said. When you are truly confident in your own knowledge, skill, or creativity, you do not need to prove anything. You have no need to be critical and grumble about the imperfection of others. You can instead offer support, guidance, and encouragement. Yeah. You know, I can feel that in myself. So, and then the last point I want to make here, well, I don't know if it's the last, but and that is bringing not only paying attention to the critical mind towards others, but also very much to become again more mindful about the critical voice towards yourself. It kind of goes together. Yeah. So it's like you know, if you soften that within you, then probably you will be also less critical towards others, and the other way around. So it's like the same. So and he puts it in a nice way, which I want to quote. Just as people shrink away when you criticize others, so that's something to observe. Is that the case? Sometimes people like to join you when you criticize others. Yeah. But probably, I mean, most of us, we don't like to be around a person who is talking badly about others. Probably not. It's probably, for most of us, probably we can get that sense of shrinking when someone is criticizing others. Yeah. And of course, if you are a leader or a teacher like me, and you do that, people lose their trust, their faith, their inspiration. It's like that. Because of course, if I would talk, or if I talk badly about other people, then it's quite likely that I also at one point talk badly about you. You know, it's like you don't want to open to someone who is talking badly about others. You would probably try to hide yourself. So in my case, definitely there's room for growth in that regard. So just as people shrink away when you criticize others, parts of you recoil from the internal critic that is always telling the other parts of you what they are doing wrong. Yeah. So it's a beautiful metaphor. Yeah. So again, as you have heard me saying, I appreciate the internal family systems therapy view or inner voice dialogue and stuff like that. So it's a nice metaphor to say, in the same way, others recoil, shrink away when you criticize others. In the same way, parts of you shrink, recoil from the inner critic. They shut down. Yeah, they shut down. And you lose connection with all the capability or with all the capabilities of those parts. Yeah, they shut down, and like maybe like, for example, if you have like a playful child within you. So if that shuts down that playful child, then you lose connection with her, and you lose the connection with the capability of playfulness. Yeah. In the same way, other people who distance themselves from you, you lose the connection with them. You can't help them anymore. You can't support them anymore because they are not open to you anymore. Yeah, and then the practice. So how to work with this, or how to relate to with this conditioning. Yeah, and that's going always in now with the commentary of Ken MacLeod, going always into the same directions. Yeah, so it's the same. The first is, of course, a curious, loving awareness. Just being curious about it, open to it, being willing to face these patterns, knowing that these patterns, this conditioning, are happening because something happened to you in your past. They are not like, you didn't choose them. Yeah, they are not your fault in a way. Yeah. So that helps you helps to, because if you completely identify with them, if you believe that that's who you are, that you are a very critical person and always like looking badly at others, and this is who I am, then it's very hard to face this. And but if you start to see, this is a condition, this is a pattern, which is empty, meaning it's flexible, it can change, it's not who you are, and it's too complex actually to describe why they are there, because it's connected with everything else. I mean, you can have some simplified explanations, that you had a mother who was very critical or something like that. But actually, each pattern is connected with everything else. So it would be actually too complex to really describe why a certain pattern is happening in you. And these kind of stories, like understanding, I'm so hard with myself because of my family history, because it is a kind of story in my family, that might help to have that kind of compassion to yourself, and being able to look at it without identifying with that. That makes it possible to look at it, and then it's good if there's some humor in it, and maybe also sharing with other people, like I did now. I mean, I was now only talking, but so if we would share about that, then probably we would. I mean, I'm sure, I know we would all of us could describe this pattern and have experience with this pattern. Then the practice of Tonglen. Kind of shifting into, I'm not alone with this. This is something we all share. With the in-breath, really experiencing that pattern completely and the pain in it, and also the what is behind it. This pattern is a protector. In particular, and this pattern in particular, it protects you from that sense of insufficiency, the sense of I'm not good enough, a sense of shame of who you are. So this pattern is a protector. It protects you of that. And if you become mindful of that, and with the practice of Tonglen, you embrace the whole experience, and you can go into the depths of the experience. And then breathing out to yourself and everyone else, then widening that circle to that which is needed. Encouragement, confidence, confidence in one's Buddha nature, in one's goodness, a confidence of being yourself, so deeply and so confidently that you don't need to criticize others. You not even need to look critically at others, because you are confidently resting in your goodness. So your gaze would only go around and looking for, how can I help here? And if it's not appropriate to help, because we don't want to be compassion bulldozers or something like that, then it's also good enough to be kind, to be quiet, because there's no need to show off with how wonderful you can help people and how great your advice can be. You just don't need to do this if it's not needed, because you don't need to do it for yourself. You would only then do it when it's appropriate and really helpful for the other person. So Tonglen, yeah, I think we kind of covered that, like the practices Ken McLeod is pointing to. So awareness of these patterns in the body. I mean, that's the main medicine, right? Loving awareness. A loving awareness which sees the insubstantiality of this pattern. So that's like the union of wisdom and emptiness. Yeah. Tonglen, and then going, if possible, going into awareness of awareness practices. And so who or what is aware? Yeah. So, and we have been talking about that, the impossibility of this, but we try. Yeah. So that's where we had in the Tibetan tradition, right? The realization of the nature of one's mind. Yeah. Awareness of awareness, being conscious that you're conscious. Awareness of Buddha nature. So that's always for us probably a possible addition at one point in the practice, in the recognition of this pattern, in feeling it, then to use a pointer, a glimpse practice to make this shift into being what is aware, being what is aware, being that, and then rest. And then mingling that with whatever is happening in the foreground. Yeah. Yes, is there any question? Comments? Yes, Mikkel. So,
hi, Stephan.
You were also an hour late.
I guess I was. Sorry about that.
No, it doesn't disturb in this case. Yeah, but because of the time change. So if you want to join tomorrow, we start at 3:30.
Yeah. I'll definitely remember that. I was in a retreat was an hour back the other way, so
okay.
Anyway, thanks for. I hope we had a lovely trip, and thank you for this lovely teaching. I just had a few couple of comments that me. One of them, being a coach, working with primarily from a standpoint of NLP, which is kind of cognitive technique. We have this position there that behind every behavior there is a good intention.
Yes.
And it helps me both when I'm working with people and with myself, to constantly try to remember that every part of myself serves a purpose. And of course, the part of criticizing, what has been difficult for me was turning from the criticism to learning what, nonviolent communication calls to state my needs. Because, criticizing has been such an ingrained pattern in my family and surroundings. So, it's for me, it's finding my strength and my vulnerability and dare to speak my needs, which was dangerous sometimes when I was a kid, not physically, but psychologically, but teaching myself, I'm an adult now, I can say what I need. I might get a no, but my chances. And then the last thing that came up was that I think that one thing that took me some time, and I'm still working on that, is I don't know how to say this without sounding like I'm criticizing you. I don't mean that. but the point is, I when I heard you talk about the inner critic, I mean, I recognize it as something I have inside myself as well occasionally. But But I think that there might be a tendency for us to creep in a subtle dualism here, because what I find with working with myself is that the inner critic is often part of myself that actually needs the most love and attention.
Absolutely.
To be integrated, I need to start to listen to it and find out why did it behavior, probably at an early age, to survive, with intention behind it, and then show that to the rest of the system to recognize that inner part's job. And then sort of, I had a woman I shared a lot with. She said it was something like giving it a new job description, saying, thank you for the job. You did a wonderful work. We survived. Could you please do this in a more kind way? And I will try to listen to you, sort of give friendly integration and thanking that part, because that part has often been doing a really, really tough job keeping us alive.
That's right.
So I just wanted to to put that on top.
Thank you. It's I completely agree with what you say. Yeah. Yes. This is for me. What you say, you hear also in the internal family assistance therapy, and this is so beautiful when you really start to see the different processes and parts of you, or whatever you call it, that they have a good intention, that everyone of the family actually wants to stabilize the family, just sometimes in immature ways, or things which can be done differently. And this point, what you say, part of this new relationship with these parts is to acknowledge them, to thank them, to acknowledge them. Wow, you inner critic, you inner judge, you have really a tough job. I mean, it must be so hard. Don't you want to retire or something like that? Yeah. Well, what else can you do? Yeah.
I asked my inner critic once, could you talk to me in a nicer voice, because it's really hard for me it gives me stress to use the inner critical voice. And it said to me, yes, but you better listen then.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I know Ali had a question also.
Yes, okay.
I'm understanding and really agreeing with all this, the issues of criticism, but I'm also thinking about how important it is for us to state honestly what our experience is. Like, even in hearing your story and, the Gellugs and your frustration with that, I so benefited from hearing that you too have had that similar experience to what I experienced.
Yeah.
So healing.
That's
so
right.
I didn't hear that as there's a way to do it that's not criticism, but it's simply sharing of truth.
Good point. Yes. Yes. Another thought I just had, as an addition and a reflection, this is also part of seeing that things are always more complex. You can so like now it was so good, Ali, what you said, and probably others could do the different angles, and so it's one thought I just had. I have not really thought it through, but was, I mean, sometimes we need a bit of a kick in the ass, right? I mean, we can't, I don't know, maybe not everyone, but so if the inner critic would just, talk with a soft voice, and, maybe sometimes it's good to have a bit of something in you which, I don't know. I have not thought this through, but I mean, also if you are responsible for people or for children, for example, sometimes you need to be a bit tough, I mean, compassionate, but clear. And so maybe we could also need that kind of part of us who is, who is not judging us. Yeah, well, something to think about. Yeah. Okay. So let's remember our temple, yeah, and the goodness of within this temple, and the experience that you actually have the capacity and the right to bless your environment and the people and the plants and the animals around you. Yeah. From the indestructible goodness which resides in our being. Yeah. So let's take a few moments to just radiate the blessings of this, or the positive energy of this meeting into the places where we live and beyond. Okay, thank you very much.
You, Stephan. I just wanted to mention that we changed time tonight, and so I think
tonight.
so I think for you it'll be 4:30 again tomorrow.
Okay.
And for our European friends.
Okay. Yeah. So it was only today. I thought it would change next weekend in New York. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But once you know that there is something, then you can always check. Only if you don't know, then you can check in the internet always. Okay. Good. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Stephan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, and sorry for disturbing.